health and wellness is by design delayed gratification because इतना बड़ा TAM है ही नहीं.
Okay, are we really in that zone where its protein is like exploding?
So I will certainly start from hard fact one, right? Overall, and then hope that it gets hair on fire at some point of time.
Wow. So Pilgrim is now bigger than Mamaearth in searches, online at least.
Yes. The best categories are the ones where memory structures actually lead to product perception.
कि अगर आपको product differentiated business मिल जाए, यार, you will sleep at peace in the night कि आप disturb नहीं हो सकते हैं.
Across categories, we are seeing protein being flashed on the packaging.
हमने बस फिर तुम्हें टेस्ट चाहिए या हेल्थ चाहिए, right? If you want health, you need to
Quick commerce has given a new life to this whole category. Overall, if I look at sports nutrition category, I think 60 to 70% would be online and 30% would be offline.
What does it take for subscription to take off in this category?
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 29 of the Asymmetric podcast. Today we have a very, very special guest, Sameer Maheshwari, the OG of the health and wellness market, founder and CEO at HealthCart, the largest health and wellness business in the country today. You would all know the brand Muscle Blaze is the market leader in protein supplements, something that is very close to our hearts. I'm sure all of you have heard me, Chirag and Shantanu discuss health and wellness, sleep scores, recovery scores, and stuff. I know none of us look beefed up, none of us look healthy. In fact, there was a comment in between saying that why are these guys talking about health and wellness? They don't look fit. But it's a personal passion of ours. As middle-aged entrepreneurs, we have to be ready for the marathon. And we thought while we are learning a lot more about health and wellness, why not understand the market also a little bit? Thank you, Sameer, for taking out the time and most welcome on the show. Like when you started, I think 2010, 11, it's almost been 14, 15 years now. You've seen 3-4 cycles of this, right? Like there was this 14, 15 cycle where everybody became very bullish on India. Then a lot of investment came in. And then 16 to 18 where people realized that we have underwritten a imaginary TAM and then money got pulled out. To then COVID and a black swan and then health and wellness again picking up. So it seems that you've seen multi-cycles and you've seen investors across different stages and different cycles. Would love to learn how as a founder you sort of navigated these. And I'm sure now it will be more hindsight. Ki acha, haan, ye. But that's where, young founders like us and young, not just by age, but also in terms of age of the business, would love to learn a little bit from you, right? Because we keep questioning कि हम ये transition कैसे करेंगे? Like previously also, whenever we end up in a debate, we conclude that me and Chirag because 4 years and 5 years old business are still thinking 5x from here, which is maybe a little bit like a venture mindset. Whereas Shantanu in the 9th year of his business is thinking कि यार 30% growth करते, but I want more EBITDA, right? And me and Chirag discussed this separately, privately. Sorry, Shantanu, we didn't tell you. But हमारी फटती है कि यार ये कैसे करेंगे हम करके?
भी 0 to 1 entrepreneur के लिए बहुत difficult है accept कर पाना कि is not chasing growth versus chasing more sanity. So the very short answer to that is, frankly, it's so we have gone through our own transition. Started with online pharmacy business, and 15 May HealthCart focus on consumer brands. So for us, I feel capital raising was never easy. There was always this question of TAM. कि यार ये इतना सा मार्केट है, आप बड़ी सी बड़ी भी बना लोगे तो कितना हो जाएगा? And unfortunately, there's no answer to that, right? Overall, but on the hindsight, and that's why basically, you only hit the market when you need the money, right? It was much more organic process. And then, unfortunately, we were never on this side that we dictated our own terms, right? It is always you're marketing to everyone, and eventually, jahan pe bhi clear ho gaya. I think it was. I think 2 years ago, we raised a large round. And for me, that was the milestone round because as a consumer business, I personally feel that you should not raise too much of capital, contrary to what we have done. And after that, I was very clear, this is the last primary round. You are investor independent. You can keep going at your own pace. And because in consumer business, the challenge is if you try to raise at a very high valuation or you keep raising, then I think you may have a fundamental business risk because you will be pushed for growth or something which I personally believe that it's beyond your control. It's largely a macro story. So if you can get to a point where you're at least your core business is self-sustainable, my recommendation is कि यार raise करो ही मत, आप चलते जाओ. That's my honest take.
But sir, how much?
Because we started as an online pharmacy, तो पहले ही सब कुछ हो चुका था क्योंकि वहाँ पे तो आपको करना ही पड़ेगा. So
How much did you
Samir,
raise for
how-
Healthcart, the brand business? Sorry, I just want to get how for the brand business. The last round was how much? How much have you raised total till now? And like some sense of
yeah, so roughly, I would say that we have cumulatively raised close to like 1,000 crores or so overall, right? But उसमें से 500 crore अभी हमारे बैंक में ऐसे कैसे पड़े? So now we don't burn. So we've turned profitable. So realistically, I think 500 or 600 crores is what we've used overall.
deployed.
Yeah,
Over a 10-year period. That's amazing.
बाद ये वाला जो राउंड हुआ था उसके बाद मेरे को people लाइक कि चलो यार और रेस कर लिए, कंपनी में भी सब एक्सिबरेंस और देर की चलो कुछ करते हैं. I was like, nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
And
Sorry,
Samir,
Chirag,
and
you're
how has
asking.
that transition happened from, you're saying that you started as an online pharmacy, which is a tech enable or tech first business, marketplace type business. And then, transition to House of Brands. 2015-16 was still at least a new space from a House of Brands also. How did that transition happen? And then what all has changed in the org? Because I run a enabler company. So we see this a lot that, people, 21, 22, a lot of brands business were also tech first because everyone thought that, okay, tech will get the valuation, etc., etc. And then now that transition has happened where I'm seeing large companies also changing to, okay, we are not tech, we are a brand company. How has that transition happened for you? And especially so early, 2015, 16, what did you see and what all has happened? Would love to know.
Yeah, basically हमारा context ये था कि we started, obviously we started in 2009. 1.5 years, we bootstrapped different ideas, dabbling with different things. And then finally, e-commerce was beginning to happen. And we started with a more doctor platform model, which is very similar to what Practo did back in the day. And then we realized that there were no smartphones, no internet adoption between amongst the doctors. And then eventually e-commerce was beginning to take off. So we thought कि direct to consumer जाते हैं. And that is where basically we formally focused on Healthcart in 2011. And the whole ambition was to build online pharmacy business. That is how we started. But obviously, because of regulations, you can't like ship out medicines from one place to the other back in the day. So we thought we'd just build a brand. At some point, these regulations will become more conducive. And we will come to, medicines at some point of time. But we practically replicated the whole chemist model. So we were doing all kinds of FMCG categories that get sold from a chemist. So it could be medical devices, it could be baby diapers, it could be everything, right? So it sold beauty products also. In fact, we sold a bunch of random things. So that is how we started. And then, along the way, so long story short, for 3 to 4 years, we kept building it. And I always call e-commerce business as a SUV, which requires a lot of fuel. आपको डालते रहना पड़ता है. So you keep raising and you're frankly speaking not really focused on the quality of revenue because I think capital is so important for you to survive. But along the way, from 11 to 14, 15, obviously we were raising capital again and again. And we were dabbling with few things that we can do differently. So two things happened with us. One, nutrition category became large for us. So almost 70% of our business was nutrition. And the accidental product market fit for us was there was no GNC or a vitamin shop equivalent in India. So there was younger population which was coming online. There was a fitness craze which was increasing. And people had no, retail opportunity to go and shop for these supplements. And we started importing these supplements from the US. So somehow Healthcart became synonymous with, we can buy authentic supplements online. And that was one clear trend that was happening. On that front, we realized that Amazon was going one category after other. And in 2014, it went full on with sports nutrition. So it became very, very difficult. It became very clear that you wouldn't be able to survive the scale of Amazon. And we had launched our private brand business in 2012, which was the early days of Muscle Base. And then we realized that we have to pivot to kind of go towards consumer business. Otherwise, as a retailer, you won't be able to, survive. So that was one direction. The other direction is we started an app called Healthcart Plus. So it was largely to drive consumer engagement on e-commerce. So very simple idea, just India has, I don't know how many thousands of medicines, but ultimately there are different generic versions of the core salts. So we created a transparent database where people can search for a salt. They can figure out what are brands selling these salts at and what are the difference in pricing. And to our surprise, that became quite viral. And we thought maybe we can take a fresh cut at the pharmacy problem using this mobile app overall. So now comes 2014, and we are again marketing to investors because we have to raise capital. And we saw that there were clearly, some people will be like, oh, this sounds interesting, this whole mobile app thing. And by the way, we were also like, oh, we have this brand also running. So ultimately, but Amazon threat was quite real. So ultimately, what happened is we ended up raising internal capital, and we thought it was better to kind of separate this two out. We could take a fresh cut in the pharmacy problem using the mobile app, which became 1mg, and then on HealthCart, while HealthCart continued to sort of be the marketplace, but we pivoted on building muscle base into a consumer brand. And then, given that Prashant was running the medical part of the business, I was running the nutritional part of the business. We were like, एक से छक्का लगाते हैं और एक से करके एक रन बनाते हैं. तो दोनों पहुंच गए तो अच्छी बात है, वरना we are dead. So that is how it happened, frankly.
Outstanding, yeah. Congratulations. Both businesses have reached where I think, a lot of times investors tell us to focus. A lot of times we tell our teams कि यार focus करो. सब लोग सब कुछ करेंगे तो नहीं होगा. This is a prime example of going deep into a problem over 10 years, and actually both businesses doing well because there was depth of thinking versus, एक ही business में दोनों चीज करने try कर रहे हो करके. So outstanding result in the end if you think about it.
Dude, actually, I also feel, अब ये किसी भी reason से हुआ हो, but if we would have not done this, I think we would have disappeared. Because my biggest learning is there's some merit to what these investors say. Because in the same pool of capital, if you have very two different demanding business lines, right, it becomes such a contradiction and so difficult to manage within an organization that you end up losing both the battles. So, for example, even today, yaar, and I'm sure Revan, तुम भी यही face करते होगे यार, you have 3 brands, right? तो किस brand, एक brand तुम्हारी growth driver होगी, एक थोड़ी सी mature हो रही होगी.
Capital allocation is like a nightmare.
And not only capital allocation, तुम्हारे side पे ठीक है, but the teams underneath will feel कि यार मैं इस brand में क्यों नहीं हूँ, देखो this is doing all the business, and it becomes such a nightmare to kind of manage that dichotomy.
I think it's a classic example of there is one business, there is delayed gratification, which was HealthCart in this case. There was a 1mg business, which was instant gratification. कि भाई ये तो एकदम rocket ship की तरह चल जाएगा. Everyone would want to put capital in the rocket ship. Nobody would want to play the delayed gratification. That's what we face in our businesses. कि जैसे आपके लिए भी मसल प्लेस बड़ा हो गया है तो everyone wants to work there, but जो आपके next brands है उसमें भी अगले 5 साल बाद बड़ा होगा वो किसी को नहीं सोचना है. लोगों को here and now solve करनी है. So, right, resource allocation, getting the smartest people to work on delayed gratification is another challenge altogether because that's what will give future value. आज की value तो हो जाएगी, right, in that sense, because all that effort that has gone in the last 10 years is also what people accrue today. So you're right, hard problem, but at least good. At least you've seen and tasted the impact of deep focus and outstanding execution. I had one question on this because for me, just coming to the delayed gratification part, right? I think because you mentioned small TAM as well, this is something that I keep debating a lot with my shareholders, in prospective incoming shareholders, employees, which is health and wellness is by design delayed gratification because इतना बड़ा TAM है ही नहीं, right? आपने जब शुरू किया तब भी TAM छोटा था, अब थोड़ा बड़ा हुआ है, but it's still much smaller compared to the broader FMCG TAM, for example, right? There is you are close to the size of Mamaearth today, but Mamaearth has a Unilever which is 60,000 crores and a P&G and a Nestle and so many public market comms that are so sizable businesses. Even a Marico and a Dabur would be like 10, 15, 20,000 crore in revenue, right? Whereas health and wellness mein, for the broader nutrition category, you don't have such BMS, which is, I think, the first data point where people get ki acha kitna bada banega, right? And there's this framework that Sequoia Capital itself had put out, which we have discussed in the past, but just for your reference, there are 3 kinds of PMFs, which we broadly sort of think of 3 different ways of doing investing as well as building, right? Which is, one is hair on fire, like a beauty skincare market today would be hair on fire, right? When you started, would you feel that, I don't think protein was still hair on fire, right? Protein was still a hard fact. Like India was still only those folks who are going to the gym who would know कि अच्छा मुझे protein लेना है, but broader India would not be taking protein. It's only today, and you had sent that pre-read across where you are saying that the fastest growing segment is this segment that is now lifestyle, right? But that was not a very large segment before. So it was largely a hard fact market. You've been playing in this hard fact market where existing habit नहीं है, आप बना रहे हो habit. Like in my view, the hardest job is जैसे जंग में होता है ना, जो पहला जो सोल्जर होता है सबसे ज्यादा बुलेट खाता है वो आप थे, बिकॉज आपने सबको बताया कि प्रोटीन खाओ प्रोटीन खाओ प्रोटीन खाओ. अब जाके मार्केट थोड़ा सा इवॉल्व हुआ है. सो नाउ द मार्केट सीम्स टू बी टर्निंग इनटू अ हेयर ऑन फायर मार्केट, right? Where everybody suddenly is talking about protein, etc. But what happens is the category then becomes crowded and there's a lot of noise, right? Now, as the incumbent and the market leader, obviously you will always stay above the noise because you created the habit. But any thoughts on, because I keep getting this question that, yeah, like we introduced gummies as a form factor and we've just gone all in on that. And the question keeps coming कि यार तू आदत लगाएगा but जब बन जाएगा तो Marico आके फिर, you know, और Unilever आके, you know, will introduce, and then how will you compete? Because in tech, what happens in hard facts, there's a monopolistic behavior. Like there's only one Swiggy and Zomato, or there's only a 1mg, which is a market. So people believe that hard fact market should be done with a technology moat or a network effect moat. Consumer brands should not do hard fact. And that's the question that keeps coming to me. In your experience of seeing protein over the last 15 years, do you think we were hard fact and now going to hair on fire? That's the first question. And second, if it is becoming hair on fire, how do you think about maintaining your lead as well as the, like 15 साल मेहनत करके आपने अगर बनाया है तो you want to like keep compounding that, right? And not get into small battles with people.
And before Samir, you come in, I just wanted to add that, you know, is it still hair on fire? मेरा question तो ये है कि is it still like moving like hard fact? Because you said that in 2012-13, you started to feel that there is this fitness craze which is happening. We are experiencing it a lot more. Maybe हमें ऐसा लग रहा है कि because of these algorithms that all our feeds are today full with nutrition and wellness. But I was just looking at the market size. I think, you know, protein looks like a 15,000-16,000 crore market. और मैं generally compare कर रहा था. So in India, Maggi is 7,000 crores and Haldiram is 15,000 crores. So is it really hair on fire, or are we in that age segment and or running these kind of businesses that we're feeling that this is hair on fire? I think you have seen the 15-year journey. Fully, you know, agree with Revan that you have possibly seen the market build, but would love to, you know, see that, okay, are we really in that zone where its protein is like exploding?
Small correction, I actually believe Samir created the market, so versus seed the market.
You know, yeah, I really like this framework, by the way. It's good terminology and good allows you to think properly. So I think a couple of points on that. So I personally feel ki the analogy of tech and consumer businesses, I actually view them very, very differently. मेरे को लगता है almost दो अलग buckets of investments हैं, and they should not be mixed with each other. Tech may obviously network effects play a big role. You know, faster you get, more capital will be an advantage. But in consumer businesses, honestly, now having gone through the cycle, especially after 2015, I don't believe that there's any structural advantage capital can provide. And this may be contrary to कि आप बोलोगे यार इतना raise कर लिया उसके बाद ये question. But I personally feel कि consumer businesses में capital is not a moat. And I honestly feel कि consumer businesses में one should really be cognizant of raising less and playing a long compounding game as opposed to getting pressurized by trying to build a large scale business. So my view is that there is no habit, right? Obviously, as a startup, you would not have the capital to kind of build the habit, right? But just have to be in that zone that you are definitely one of the first few ones, right? If you're not the first few ones, look, everyone, you would have seen this. At least we have tried to chase businesses, right? And I'm sure everyone tries to chase businesses, but I have never seen anybody successfully chase businesses until they're truly innovative or they were the first few ones to kind of nail it down, right? So at least you get 1 to 2 years of advantage, and that advantage means everything, especially from a brand perspective, right? Because we're not talking about the category. Category consumption to badega, but what is your right to win? You get a huge advantage if you're the first ones, and you can communicate to the consumer, or you have a prerogative of picking the right value proposition for the consumer. It becomes a lot harder for the next guy to kind of create a world which is different than what you have already created. So I personally feel कि जो category, look, if you have future vision, nothing like it, but it's a hard one because you will not have the capital to kind of change the habits. So I will certainly start from hard fact one, right, overall, and then hope that it gets hair on fire at some point of time. But until this, and even if you micro segment it by product category or within a category sub products, right? I think this framework definitely applies. And in consumer, I argue almost if you don't do this, you really don't have a long-term sustainable advantage. Because I think consumer with brand businesses will be differentiated basis your promise or right to win, right? Otherwise, it would be hard for, because by the time it's hair on fire, it would be too late. And I think the perspective would be very different from a VC versus an entrepreneur, right? Because as an entrepreneur, you can't time the market. VCs will come when the market has already got to a critical size. So from their perspective, they have to pick few bets once the market is large enough. But as an entrepreneur, you have to think 2 to 3 years ahead to be able to get there. So that's my honest
So
view.
better be early than late, at least.
Absolutely. Otherwise, it's very difficult to, I think, differentiate, because it's very difficult to chase in consumer businesses because it's a lot harder to create or pick your world, which is different than what the leader has already done.
But Samir, isn't that contra to, let's say, what these traditional FMCG companies would do? They would come in late. They would say, we have capital, we have distribution. Okay, even if we are late, we'll...
But मेरे हिसाब से game change हो गया है. Look, if you were, I think, if you were traditional businesses where offline distribution was a big moat, that will certainly apply, because you have almost like it's a monopolistic business where you have, literally blocked all the merchandising space available to consumers. But now with quick commerce, the costs of marketing is variable, right? So it's very hard to scale. It's very hard to get in, right? You don't need like 10 crores of ATL budget to kind of communicate to a consumer. And second, your distribution mode is also gone, right? Practically, you can be listed on quick commerce, e-commerce, and you can reach the consumers. In that context, I think very, very hard for somebody to put disproportionate capital. Like somebody can spoil the market, but logically, for somebody to kind of hold the market because of this structural advantage. Because if your product is different, if your brand value proposition is strong, you have to fight on product and brand proposition versus fighting on distribution.
Sorry,
I'm just speaking about online first businesses, right? So that's my view here.
I had a question on this, Samir. Let's take online businesses also, right? So Mamaearth showed us how beauty and personal care should be done as a online first or digitally native business, and skincare and hair care was largely, and that's a hair on fire market, right? If you see the number of companies that have now come up in skincare subsequently and done well and got funded, it seems like at least where there is not a winner take all, right? In the ideal place where every investor is suggesting is, yaar, aap hair and fire ho theek hai, because TAM risk mujhe nahi lena hai. Because TAM risk leke, the outcome size is not going to be that big in consumer. Tech businesses mein outcome sizes are much bigger possible, right? Second, you don't have inherent moats to say that I will have 60-70% market share. वो बहुत मुश्किल होता है. Like even in food delivery, where Zomato has 60, Swiggy has 40, let's say grocery may also end up being something like that. So you have disproportionate market share to extract a lot of value for the venture dollar that has gone in. Whereas in consumer brands, if someone does a hard fact, this is not an existing habit today, there's very little money available for those businesses. And if you see most consumer brands that start out, I mean, Shark Tank may be not the best representation, but just looking at what has got funded in the last 2 years in consumer brands, most of them would be hair on fire. So while I agree with you, and that's why I also started in hard fact, I think the dollar available for hard fact on consumer brands, which are by design not winner take all, and therefore your ability to extract, and it's a question of margins. The reason hard fact businesses are liked by investors is because only if you're able to charge a disproportionate you're getting disproportionate gross margin, which will only come if you're a monopoly or a duopolistic behavior, where your future cash flows is underwritten, because nobody's coming and disrupting you. Whereas brands में क्या होता है, जैसे ही थोड़ा सा market बनता है, people keep nibbling away from every side. Hair care है, अब curly hair के लिए अलग 4 brand बन गए हैं, wavy hair के लिए अलग 4 brand बन गए हैं, and switching costs are very low in consumer brands. People have very little loyalty. Though nutrition will be different because you're putting something inside your body, which is what I also explained to investors कि इसमें इतना switching नहीं होगा, right? So even if it becomes hair on fire, though people have not seen it. Like as now protein becomes hair on fire, there's a question that, but if somebody comes up and says, I'll play 25 flavors, right? Or pehle, I think, for example, concentrate was a very well established practice, but now everybody suddenly wants isolate because gut health is becoming a big thing, right? So there are always avenues for people to come and nibble away at market shares, which investors don't like, because you'll always be profitable and do well, but doesn't give you disproportionate profits for the risk. And it's a risk reward equation, right? Hard fact में क्या लगता है, ज़्यादा time लगता है और ज़्यादा पैसा लगता है for any business to get built. And people are like, for that risk I'm taking, am I getting a better reward? And brands में that reward doesn't seem to be there. Is the at least logic that I get.
Sure. No, Revan, I think absolutely the right logic there. What I was trying to say is कि brand businesses में I will actually try to discount external capital while trying to build consumer businesses. Because fundamental assumption is you would need a lot of capital and you will go through this loss cycle for a long period of time. And hence, I have to generate an outsized outcome from a brand size perspective to make it worth the while for the investors, right? But if I shift that argument a little bit, right? Let's say I don't raise too much of capital, right? Because in consumer businesses, my assumption is, let's say I can't control the macro consumer market, right? And I have to assume that when I get to a certain size or certain market share, there would be a lot of incumbents who will come in, right? The question is, if I'm not trying to push the paddle too much and I keep disrupting myself with the cash flows that I've created, right? Or let's say I've not diluted too much, I still hold a reasonable equity, right? Then basically I can pull in the cash flows back to kind of create these sub-brands myself overall, right? So the question is, there will be some illogical players who will still try to disrupt you, but the scale of sub-brand or the cut, let's say a curly hair for that in that example, is never going to get to, let's say, 50 to 100 crores, and you will always be, right? Because you have to cover your fixed costs also at some point of time, right? But let's say if you believe that you have like a 400 crore brand, right? And you're generating reasonable cash flows, and can you reinvent yourself to kind of go after these opportunities which you believe will be 100 to 200 crores going forward? And that is what, like, if you think about all these big FMCG companies, right? They have these classic 3 brand architectures like premium, mass premium, value, right? And if you don't do it, somebody else will do it. Question is your organization cater to 3 to these multiple brands, and you don't have investor pressure to kind of justify that when the TAM doesn't exist, you're trying to invest. I think it is largely a question of not raising too much of capital in my view. Because look, you can't, because in tech, or I take a classic example of 1mg and Healthcart, right? So in tech, you're trying to play for this big outcome, right? And capital is a differentiation because you can do things faster and hopefully you can get to a network which creates a structural advantage for you, right? But in brands, I think obviously the value proposition and the timing of the market when you enter and all that will make a huge difference, right? But beyond that, I don't think capital will create a sustainable long-term advantage because, consumer habits cannot be changed with capital. Obviously, look, Zomato and Swiggy would be different cases because they require a significant capex or significant investments in the back end and creates significant barriers to entry, right? But consumer businesses, especially with quick commerce and e-commerce, when the barriers of entry are so low, right? I think what will work for you is most likely raising less and differentiating on the product or being the first ones. I think.
So that's a very good point. That's very good point. Actually, wanted to share something.
But look, all of us because get victim to यार पैसे raise करना ही है फिर question है कि वो expectation of an outcome has to be more measured. For example, if I take Mama's case, right? I really think it was first one to disrupt the whole influencer marketing bit, proper timing and all that. But let's say Mamaearth did not have an ambition of going public, right? That early. And let's say not trying to accelerate the growth and take a 10-year view and gradually धीरे धीरे करके build करती रहती है, right? For example, Mamaearth बनाया, फिर आपने Derma को बनाया, and Mamaearth was already that larger brand, it was generating profits. तो आप अगर करते जाओगे, right, without saying कि यार मेरे को अगले साल इतना grow करना है, तो it will create a moat for itself. That's
a very good point. I actually want to share something on these lines, and this is something that I've also been thinking about. I think we always feel, and I think maybe there's a personal thing, we always feel brand is about we confuse it for top of funnel. We think about the number of people who know about us. We think about number of people who, feel a particular emotional way about us. There's a lot of education and literature on brand, and a lot of founders confuse it for, memory structures. While in my view, it's actually memory structures plus the most important thing about the brand is actually the product experience, which leads to two things, which is the person buying again and the person telling 5 people to buy. Right? That's actually where the brand compounding happens, right? So look at this. Okay, this is now, I think, a good proxy, like for what people search, right? This is the blue line is Mamaearth, then red line is Pilgrim, Minimalist, and Foxtail, right? For in the hair on fire market, beauty, similar kind of portfolios, similar kind of consumers, different pricing points, and so on. And you see that they have started. Foxtail is the youngest one. Minimalist and Pilgrim probably similar tenure, and Mamaearth is the oldest one. Clearly, now over a period of time, the Google search volume, right? So some kind of proxy for brand strength and purchase intent.
Wow. So Pilgrim is now bigger than Mamaearth in searches, huh? Online, at least.
Yes. But the interesting thing is they've all kind of come to some equilibrium, which is in the similar ballpark. Okay. Yeah. Now here is the interesting part. Okay. But now look at Dove. Dove has been at that same equilibrium for the last 5 years. They have not gone up or down. But is Dove higher brand equity? Absolutely, right? Is it much larger revenues and creating much more profit? Absolutely. But beyond memory structures, the distribution, of course, is a massive mode. Beyond that is the cash they create to put into longer term brand building, which may not be necessarily top of funnel, but more about emotional. And then the product delivery and then the word of mouth, household penetration, etc. becomes important, which is where I think what Samir, you're also alluding to, which is long term brand building actually is not a function of capital necessarily.
And Chandru, when you say this, out of curiosity from a viewer viewpoint, when you say memory structure, it's like, okay, what do I recall when I look at the brand? Like, for example, in a tech world, ChatGPT is the go-to thing for, the new age LLMs. Right? Abhi 50 aa jayenge, but category recall is for ChatGPT.
Correct.
That kind of thing you're saying. And then when you're saying Dove, it's saying, is it got to do with what Samir was saying, that they were the category creators first and hence, continue to reinvest, they will always be there? वैसा कुछ बोल रहा हूँ?
See, Dove is, again, these are large companies. Now they kind of take view of decades on brands. They don't take view of quarters or even years. They take view of decades on brands. And I've learned this, for example, from Colgate, who did the tooth powder to toothpaste. It's right now, all of us use toothpaste. हमको वो बहुत ही easy लगता है. But if you talk to Mukul, who was there when that was happening, it was a 20-year view that the CEO took in India to say कि बस हम इसको convert करेंगे. Or when Adi talks about the Lysol Harpic movement in toilet cleaning, or any of these, they actually take decade-long views. And my view is that takes a lot of belief, and that belief happens when you are not capital dependent. You know that your core business is churning out cash, so you can now think, yeah, this is some allocation I'm going to do to 2035. Like Bombay Shaving Company today has zero view on what allocation we can do for 2028 also, forget about 2035. So हम लोग 1-2 साल के view में ही चलते रहते, so we are always following. And the ability and privilege to actually shape the market over a decade, where for example, I should actually be thinking about today's 6-year-old boy, right, who will be a shaving consumer at 16 in 2035. And what that actually means, वो मेरे में है ही नहीं. Like I don't have the capability also, or the push also from the investor group, or generally no one pushes me to do that. But and if you look at innovation cycles and brand builds, I think large companies do it because they have earned that patient freedom.
And Shantanu, so has it got to do with in today's era where, let's say what Samir was also saying, the cost to doing incremental sales is now very much related to like performance marketing. Right, most of the spends today are going towards performance rather than brand, at least in the early stage of brand building. Whereas Dove would do a lot of brand expenditure because that's what they know, right?
So their performance is distribution, na yaar. Their performance marketing is retail share of shelf. That's their performance marketing. They don't really need to do more. So that freedom also they've earned again over few decades of investment.
Yeah, this way, I'd like to add, because the way I think about this is slightly one step even before the brands. He typically, the framework that I use is typically a need state will arise in the market, right? So people looking for protein, foods, or whatever, right? And then there would be solutions provided by different players, right? So somebody would say, oh, there's a healthy eating need. Somebody will say, I'll fortify this with protein. Somebody will say, I'll fortify with vitamin D3, or somebody will take a more green approach, etc., right? So I think the approach that you take, and that is the big point that you take, find your brand value proposition, and वो brand value proposition कितना stick करता है नहीं करता है वो तो आपको 2 साल के बाद ही पता पड़ेगा, right? But ultimately, if you look at any brand, on one axis there would be product led differentiation, what Shantu just spoke about, right? And the other one you're talking about is the memory structure. I was talking about that as a value proposition or the perception that you want your consumers to remember you for, right? So let's say somebody saying कि यार मैं protein fortified food हूँ या फिर मैं clean food हूँ or whatever, right? तो I think mostly categories में they will never be like देखो product led तो वो कुछ किसी ने space shuttle बना रखा है इतना heavy R&D led product हो कि there's nothing which doesn't require marketing, but most of the products will be somewhere in the middle. Beauty personal care category में देखूंगा तो इसके अंदर it is heavy on perception, right? Because maybe product would be commoditized. Let's say Dove, या फिर if I take all the three different segments of premium soaps and all that, right? Product पे इतना differentiation नहीं होगा, and that's why they require a lot of marketing to maintain that perception. But depending on your category, there's a nutrition may you'll be somewhere in the middle or more closer to the product because you're consuming that product. So I think figuring this right balance of product and perception is, in my view, काफी important है. क्योंकि अगर आप
समीर,
फिर आपको मार्केटिंग चाहिए यार 40-45% उसके बिना चलेगा नहीं वो. यहाँ पे आपको ग्रोस मार्जिन कम है पर आपको मार्केटिंग कम चाहिए तो यू हैव टू डिजाइन इट लाइक दैट आई थिंक.
But Samir, are you saying that health and wellness or protein as a market is not commoditized? There is performance angle to it. There is differentiation in the product itself.
यार आपको देखो I never say कि it's like extreme. There definitely has to be some product story, right? And then it has to be married with some marketing communication about the choices that you have made in the design of the product, right? So let's say you're saying clean, then you have to you're saying no to some other things also, right? So my question is that creates the product differentiation, right? अगर बहुत deeper differentiation है तो you need less marketing. But let's say beauty personal care category में यार look, if it is a 70% gross margin and the product differentiation is low, you will need 30 to 40% of marketing to kind of convince to maintain your recall with consumers. So I think मेरे को लगता है कि वो that's how I typically look at these reports overall.
The best categories are the ones where memory structures actually lead to product perception. So, for example, Coke is a great example of this, right? Where the person likes the drink because they like the marketing, not necessarily. So in blind tests, the perception of a non-blind test versus a blind test are very off for a brand like Coke, or even, for example, something which is very performance-driven like Red Bull, because the memory structures around energy and sport is so strong that someone who has a placebo Red Bull also feels energetic after having it because of the logo on the can, even though they've just had like normal water, right? So those are like exceptional memory structure and brand building games where like that's like, you know, I think counting on that to happen for a startup or a founder, etc., is I think just is very difficult. But I think focusing on both, depending upon the margin profiles and need states, I think is a very interesting point to make. But
But contrary to that, if you let's say if you were in a pure R&D business, let's say ingredient R&D business, very very hardcore, तो आपने उसमें 5 साल लगाए और एक ऐसा ingredient बना दिया जो पेटेंटेड है, फिर आपको कोई मार्केटिंग की जरूरत नहीं है. तो आई थिंक द रिस्क ऑफ द बिजनेस इज वेरी लो. यहाँ पे यू विल ऑलवेज बी अटैक्ड ऑन मार्केटिंग एंड द कंज्यूमर प्रेफरेंसेस विल चेंज. तो मुझे तो लगता है कि जो प्रोडक्ट डिफरेंशिएटेड बिजनेसेस है, नाउ इन हाइंडसाइट वी आर डूइंग द कैटेगरी दैट वी आर ऑलरेडी वुड बी परफेक्ट कि अगर आपको प्रोडक्ट डिफरेंशिएटेड बिजनेस मिल जाए, दे आर you will sleep at peace in the night कि आप डिस्टर्ब नहीं हो सकते.
you're almost in the pharmaceutical, nutraceutical kind of.
Some product led, जैसे आप R&D कोई बहुत hardcore आपने कुछ R&D ingredient बना रखा है, आप कुछ बना रखा है, so I feel वहाँ पे advantage अलग है, but
So how is the protein? I know you sent some slides. I don't know, Revant, Chirag, whether you got the time to see Samir sent some slides last night, but we could kind of showcase them on the presentation also. And it's a very, very good foundation for actually looking at the fact that there are 5 crore people in India who are 90% in the kind of light to moderate, kind of fitness conscious versus roughly 50 lakh who are kind of very serious gym goers and elite or semi-elite kind of athletic requirements. But in protein, for example, now this is a place that's at least now I'm coming in from a consumer standpoint, not necessarily a founder or observer of the market, but as a consumer, I've just seen crazy amounts of just overload of information, whether it's my Instagram feed, whether it's my ads, whether it's just conversation amongst peers. The kind of supply. Now you've seen large companies like Amul come in and you've very nicely kind of divided it to like protein powders and supplements versus kind of protein in daily use, right? And that's where the two areas where people are kind of realizing कि यहाँ पे there are some consumers who will be like, यार cost में दूध पीऊंगा सुबह, या फिर I will have dahi and I will have my meals and you put protein wherever I can. I'm not going to have it separately. And some people are like, boss, मैं तो अपना वो I'm going to get a shake couple of times before my workout, etc. Clearly two different. But the market is still one where the foundational raw material is still kind of coming from a very controlled supply. India does not have access to it, or at least yet we have not been able to create it. So the window of operation in terms of how you can differentiate is very different, right? It's very small. So I mean, I think companies innovate, but would love to know how this is shaping up. Is it as like, or is it just a small amount of loudness in like a large ether, but we are too close to it? Is it that, or is it genuinely like I was saying? Is it more distributed? And then how have you built like such a sizable business with market leadership? But do you sleep easy knowing that there are like 100 people like kind of coming behind?
अभी मार्केट ऑन फायर हो रहा है, अब सब आ जाएंगे, you know. And मेरा
first of all.
genuine question है ये कि एल्गो इफेक्ट तो नहीं है कि one, we are in that age bracket where we are becoming, or fitness is the social currency, and two, algo show us the same thing. By the way, how fast is this protein market growing? Is it like 20ish or is it higher?
I think 18% is what we estimate year on
That's
year.
very healthy, boss. That's
Pretty-
very healthy.
Protein certainly has picked the tailwinds, and I think we have been waiting for this tailwind for a while. And I think clearly after COVID, something has structurally changed. We have also grown massively, benefited from this trend. But fundamentally, as I divided earlier on, I believe that the protein was used as a functional use case. कि मैं जिम जाता हूँ, मुझे X amount of protein चाहिए. मैं regular खाने में, let's say I cannot consume enough protein. That's why I need this supplementation. So even we tried to launch like a protein for athletes and all that, but we just realized there was no need per se at that point of time. So it was kind of a early attempt. But we then discontinued कि हमें लगा कि यार जिम में ही है use case where people really need this. क्योंकि इंडिया में जब तक आपको need नहीं होगी तब तक आप कुछ pay करोगे नहीं. That's the fundamental, right? So, but this was the case for longest period of time. And on this, because we were mostly anchored on this market, and here also we have seen crazy sort of growth because the whole penetration and acceptance of protein as a supplement has increased, right? 10 years ago, तो बिल्कुल वो black box imagery थी कि पता नहीं क्या डाल रखा है, bad for my health and all this. That has gradually changed. तो मुझे लगता है कि the biggest driver for that change is social media. And why I say this social media is, fitness content is quite cool. So, every celebrity is sort of posting because this is how you kind of flaunt or look good. And this is, so I think you see that content and then you get impacted. You also want to project your image. Plus, you're consuming content from all over the world. So it kind of gets into this virtuous cycle where you basically try to get into that zone, right? So मेरे को लगता है काफी कुछ driver वहाँ पे है. But what we have seen in, I would say, last 2 to 3 years, clearly we were trying to see there was this larger story कि India में protein consumption is low. At some point, people will realize that they need more protein, and hence the mainstream consumer will start to consume more protein. And given that food can only provide you X amount, you would need this daily supplementation. And so मेरे को लगता है कि that market has started to take off in last 2 to 3 years, in my view, right? So पहले we were thinking कि it will start from athletes or people who are like running marathons and all this. तो वहाँ पे protein की as such नहीं थी. But now what is changing is I think people are generally health conscious, or at least some segment is health conscious, and they realize कि let's say if they do any level of reasonable activity, they would want like X amount of protein per body weight, and to maintain that protein intake without any supplement is quite difficult. So that's why basically people have started to supplement. Now these two segments will have very different take on the brands that they would want and the qualities that they will look for in the brands. But clearly, I think this other market is also growing now overall. So, ये change has happened in the last 2 years, and also some of the brands which have started have done a really good job in terms of creating awareness around it, right? So, I think I feel कि to answer your second question, do I sleep at peace and all that? मुझे लगता है यार 10 साल की story है, right? We feel fortunate कि एक critical mass आ गया जहाँ पे आप profitable हो, आप कहीं जा नहीं रहे जब तक कि you don't get disrupted or you get left behind with a big trend. So as far as you are profitable, you don't have pressure to kind of grow at a certain rate, then you take a 10-year view. I think more and more consumers will come on this side, which is more mainstream fitness consumers, and also the penetration of fitness consumers will increase overall. So I think using these two, ये grow करता जाएगा मेरे हिसाब से. Food market is slightly different. I would say go-to market, unit economics and everything. तो वो थोड़ा सा अलग beast है. But as far as protein powder supplementation goes, I think it will keep compounding. I mean,
Also, I think on this is one of the few, or maybe only health trend I know that has not had a massive tailwind of medical advice. So, for example, whether it's oral care brands that kind of became big, or sensitive teeth, or whether it was some of the stuff around milk supplements for children, whether the Horlicks, Bonvita era, the 90s, 2000s, you will usually see advertising with like a white coat and like a massive amount of lobbying with the through the pharmaceutical and the doctor world, and Revant will know this much better. But protein seems to be this whole 1.2 grams of protein for every kilogram of body weight. All of this knowledge, which is kind of also global in nature, but is rooted in research, but it's actually been disseminated, you're right, through social media and fitness influencers and people who visibly look successfully healthy, right? Great lean bodies, good muscles, active, a 50-year-old guy who looks 32 and can do like 100 push-ups. Suddenly that guy saying, boss, you need 100 grams of protein a day. People are like, cool, I don't need a doctor to tell me that. So this has actually happened outside the medical world, in my view.
Actually, that was my related question. What is the real answer? Is it 0.8? Is it 1? Is it 1.2? I get like confused and people are like, boss, you should know it. I'm like, but I myself read so many different scientific journals, or answers actually seems to be varied on who wants to sell more protein, or like the nutritionists will usually come much below, but the jacked people are usually at like nahi aur lena chahiye karke. So I also get confused.
Is it got to do with like if you want to get jacked or if you're doing more physical fitness? So let's say a sports person would consume more, because I agree that we keep oscillating between 1 gram per kg to 1 gram per pound.
yes. No, I think nutritionists would be the best people, because I know there's a lot of marketing which goes around. My view is, I think 0.8 is good for sustenance, or maybe the other way to look at it is like you should start with calories first, right? So your basal metabolic rate, which defines some base level calorie, and then you add activities to it, you know how much calories you need, right? Now, if you increase or if your activity is increasing and you get from 20% calories coming from protein, if you go from 20 to 25 to 30, right? While maintaining your calories, right? And not going crazy on protein, I think it will be better for you. That's what I believe. So I think it will come down to if you're actively playing some sports or something, I think it will come down to 1.2 is what I gather overall. But 0.8 would be in a percent.
If I'm 80 kilos, 120 gram is what I should take if I'm doing some activity.
Right. So 80 to 120 would be the range in my view overall. If you're not crazily lifting weights, but if you're active, let's say you're doing some bit of
3 times a week gym.
Yeah. So I would certainly.
And 8,000 steps. That's active. That's not crazy.
Absolutely. You would certainly need 1.2. And I personally see a lot of transformation in our investor community who have started consuming protein. So even in our boardroom, I've seen a couple of transformations. So yeah, absolutely.
But I think a lot of people should, like, for example, someone like me, my body is naturally prone to converting protein into like uric acid crystals and I kind of have a tendency of gout, which my mom also has. So my doctor has basically told me ki protein ko thoda kam rakho, because you cannot absorb only what you want. So I think everything has to come with like, kind of a medical overlay for the individual also.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, look, obviously people will say that if you consume too much of protein, it can create, impact on your kidneys and all that, right? So we have done a lot of research on that. Obviously, it's a core part of the business. What we've seen is until you're going crazy on protein, when I say crazy, it's like going, 2x, going 3x of your body weight, right? So when these things are coming from the fact that somebody like crazy bodybuilder is consuming like, 3x the body weight. Unless you go on that side, you're generally safe overall. And but absolutely, it's important to get your vitals tested every now and then, and make sure your liver and kidneys are like, you're not. They're absorbing.
Most of the YouTube bodybuilder videos are like that. Like for me, it's watching a Jay Cutler or a Ronnie Coleman video is like always ki yaar kya log hai karke, right? And when you see their daily diet, it's just crazy. They take like 10,000 calories in a day. Of course, they also work out like crazy. But like Jay Cutler at its peak was doing 140 eggs a day, apart from the protein shake, right? It's just 150 ande.
Did I hear it right? 140?
140. Well, there's a video of him just peeling eggs. It's like मैं दिन में 3 घंटे सिर्फ अंडे peel करता रहा.
No, I and Shantanu can peel eggs for sure. But I don't know. 140 in a month is good. That also, yaar, is 5 a day. वो भी ज्यादा है.
That's a lot. I agree.
फॉलो करना चाहिए एज वेजिटेरियन, आई मीन टेक्निकली एगिटेरियन, मेरे लिए तो और कोई सोर्स बचता ही नहीं है. सो आई एक्चुअली गेट टू 5 नाउ.
That's another problem. By the way, India is like
और 2 बार
India
शेक स्ट्रगल होता है यार. 1 बार शेक ठीक है, 2 बार शेक बहुत स्ट्रगल होता है.
That
यार
is
एक बार
where
बताओ
the food category is also evolving. Protein dahi is a really good substitute. Similarly, protein.
मैं आपको
I
दिखाता
think
हूँ.
usually
I got this interesting screenshot. Look at
Very
this
interesting.
from a protein point of view. You know what he's saying?
Wow.
कि प्रोटीन नहीं पीना है, but now everything. मतलब I got this image that look at the variety from protein paratha to of course epigamy. चलो yogurt तो is protein, to bread now to oats. I think across categories we are seeing protein being flashed on the packaging.
It's gone from product to feature, ना वो तो हो ही गया है. Protein water I saw the other day. Zero calorie को तो 30 calories, 200 ml protein water, 10 grams of protein.
Basically, right? Sabhi, hydrolyze, you remove every carb, everything, just pure protein. It's actually pretty good. Very light on the gut also. बहुत महंगा है, बहुत ही महंगा.
Yeah, but Revant, on this manga thing, how does India become healthy? Because looks like that this is a rich man phenomena of having protein, right? If we look at like across countries, also India is like way far behind, and I'm assuming that India 1 or India 1 Alpha is started to consume protein. But is there a way that this can be like more massified? Cost can come down. What does need to happen for this to happen, or it's like not possible at all?
Sameer बताएंगे, because I think largest importer of protein today, Sameer, in the country.
I think we might be. Yeah. नहीं तो इसमें यार, if you take a step back, right? Proteins बहुत तरह के हैं, right? What we are referring to is the whey protein, which is considered the gold standard in protein. And whey protein, why it is so popular is it has really, really good composition of amino acids overall. And second, it also absorbs in the body very, very fast. तो अगर आप वर्कआउट करके आ रहे हो, आपकी मसल्स आर नीड द फ्यूल, आप जैसे पियोगे, you will start to feel recovery the next day, right? But having said that, whey protein is not the only source, right? You have casein protein, you have egg protein, जो आप egg खा रहे हो, उससे भी आ रहा है. And then if you go to plant sources, there is soya, there is brown rice, there is pea protein, there is yeast, there are all kinds of protein, right? तो अल्टीमेटली मेरे को लगता है कि सबसे पहला तो डिस्टिंक्शन ये है कि एंड वे प्रोटीन का ये है इन द अमाउंट ऑफ वे प्रोटीन. सो वे प्रोटीन इज अ बाय प्रोडक्ट ऑफ, तो मिल्क में बेसिकली इट्स अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट ऑफ मिल्क, एंड मिल्क से आप चीज बनाते हो और चीज के बाद जो पानी बनता है उसको बेसिकली एक्सट्रैक्ट करके, दैट इज वेयर वे प्रोटीन इज. तो जस्ट फ्रॉम अ कॉन्टेक्स्ट पर्सपेक्टिव you get 0.7% of whey from the milk, right? तो अगर आपको 1 kg पे बनाना है, right? तो आपको almost 150 लीटर दूध लगेगा, right? It is that small. But almost like 4 times of this is the casein content, which is also a type of protein, right? So the whole point is, while whey protein is quite popular, but there are also other sources of protein, which you can argue that whey protein is like gold standard, but there are other proteins also which do a reasonably good job depending on what you want from protein, right? So from a pricing perspective, whey protein is, because it is a byproduct of cheese, and India is not a big cheese consuming nation, right? That is why, while India is the largest producer of milk globally, almost like 30% of milk is produced in India, right? But the value added products में जो cheese है, because that in India is not a big cheese consumer, that's why basically India doesn't have significant whey supplies domestically, right? So whey globally, US, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, these are the 3 big buckets where they are big cheese consumers, and hence they also produce this as a byproduct. तो मेरे को लगता है इंडिया में the good thing is India में milk is huge, right? And it is a question of creating value added products compared to what you do in milk. तो अभी जो आप पनीर बना रहे हो, you can think about repurposing that to basically make cheese, and maybe you can also repurpose that. तो मेरे को लगता है कि जैसे जैसे ओवरऑल डिमांड बढ़ रही है of all these value added products like cheese or I think supplies will come online in India eventually. Now it may be few years out, but eventually it will happen. तो अभी ये market उस तरह से structured है, because whey is a very very small part of the overall equation of the milk.
But Samir, the maths that you're giving कि 150 लीटर दूध चाहिए 1 किलो whey बनाने के लिए, that won't change still, right? I mean, what you're saying is जैसे whey की demand आएगी, more of the milk production in India will start saying that, okay, let me put a cheese production factory, let me convert more of my milk to cheese, which will convert to whey. But is there inherent efficiency possible in the maths to improve? Otherwise, whey will remain expensive, even if milk made in India.
No, I think the way to think about this is, look, India has reasonable supplies of milk, right? And some people will just like to consume milk as it is, right? Now, this milk producer will have an option of creating pure milk or create a bundle of value-added products, right? Now, within this bundle of value-added products, it could be casein, it could be whey, it could be cheese, it could be a mixture of products, right? Now, my assumption is obviously the only reason you will do this value-added products is because you're making more money of this, right? Economically, right?
Manufacturer will say, ज़्यादा पैसा कहाँ है मेरा?
ज़्यादा पैसा कहाँ है? अब वो ज़्यादा पैसा will be dependent on the commodity prices of some of these value-added products that you create, right? तो जैसे जैसे आपकी value-added products की pricing, for example, let's say cheese, that is where the economics will play out. Obviously, you'll require capital expenditure to kind of set these up, right? To justify the long-term demand. बट इंडिया में जैसे जैसे चीज की डिमांड बढ़ेगी या फिर कुछ कुछ और वैल्यू एडेड प्रोडक्ट्स की डिमांड बढ़ेगी which could also be exported, right? I think domestic supplies will come on board.
One of the reasons, maybe then, Chirag, to your question, massification for India will only happen if the largest milk producers like Amul have now gotten into one way, but they're still doing it only D2C, right? So clearly, like some people think it's a marketing strategy, it could be a supply constraint strategy as well. कि अगर उतना ही supply है तो might as well make the maximum ROI by just keeping it's scarce, so keep it available only on D2C. I don't know if Samir, you have a view on why they're doing D2C only. But
So, Revan, my view is they are taking a much more, I don't think it is a supply question as much, but basically they are taking a view that for protein to be accepted, it needs to be integrated in your regular diet. And they're not looking at bodybuilders who need like 25 grams or 50 grams of protein. They are looking at how can I basically bridge the gap with, let's say, 10 additional grams, which can be integrated in my diet. So, yeah, Panik, so mainstream products, I think that is the approach that they're taking overall. I think supply issues can be solved because fundamentally India is a large milk producing country. But currently, I think it is the acceptance of protein and how do you integrate this for mainstream, because they are thinking a lot massier compared to making it a niche product for bodybuilders.
surprisingly, their way is as expensive as the market. It's not that they are saying कि हम price आधे पे दे देंगे करें.
हाँ, वो बेचते हैं, but I don't think they have invested significantly in creating big capacities for whey. What most likely they're doing is even one step before the whey is created, you will get this intermediate product, and they're using that product to kind of feed into the protein into mainstream products, right? So I think that's probably because they're trying to drive the acceptance of these products in general.
How will the funnel be created? Will the funnel be that there is like a small sliver of people who are very evolved consumers, but that's where like kind of the brand equity is built, and then it kind of spreads from them who are key opinion leaders into more regular people who will be like, okay, hum wo to nahi kar sakte, so let me try and pick this up. Or is it the other way around, that at mass households will kind of get acceptance because it's there in their biscuit or in their paratha or in their milk, etc. And then hopefully over a period of time, as they get older, they become more serious about health, and then they kind of I find it very hard to understand this funnel fully because समझता ही नहीं कि कैसा है.
देखो मेरा व्यू है, nobody knows the answer, by the way. That's the
Great.
नहीं पता होता था, बहुत अच्छा रहा. But my view is, देखो, ultimately talk about like the India one which can afford protein, right? उसके अंदर basically there's a mainstream acceptance कि I need X amount of protein, right? And then if you go across the age groups, I think there is also an opportunity कि like for example, even my parents and a lot of my colleagues, they've started feeding them at least one scoop of protein every day, because people don't realize कि यार आपका it's counterintuitive, but you're going through your muscle degeneration, and this protein can certainly help. ये वही वाला है कि after a certain age they stop doing strength training, but strength training is actually very very helpful, right? So basically people will realize कि यार मुझे इतना protein चाहिए. I think that awareness is increasing, right? Now the question is, what is the best way to fulfill that need, right? तो अगर आप बिल्कुल extreme into sports या जिम जा रहे हो, right? जहां पे आपको 25 से 50 ग्राम चाहिए, right? unfortunately, you would not be able to meet this purely through your diet, right? So they will go towards these protein powders and all that, right? And as you go down the need chain, there would be people who will just need 10 to 15 grams, right? अब वो 15 grams मैं शायद दही से भी ले सकता हूँ या फिर मैं एक पाउडर का आधा स्कूप ले सकता हूँ तो डिपेंडिंग ऑन वट एवर इज कन्वीनियंट पीपल विल काइंड ऑफ pick these options overall. तो मेरे को लगता है उसके अंदर then you will have all these options, right? And easiest is if it get integrated in my regular food. जैसे I remember बहुत पहले हमने कोशिश करी थी प्रोटीन आटा बनाने की, तो इट वाज वे ahead of its time. तो बहुत कोशिश करी, 100 लोगों को खिलाया, कैसा लगता है क्या है, बट द होल आइडिया वाज कि यार आप रोटी खाते हो तो रोटी में ही अगर इफ यू पुट सर्टेन प्रोटीन व्हिच डजंट गेट डीनेचर्ड, राइट, एंड यू गेट लाइक योर 5 to 10 grams, कैन यू अटा प्रोवाइडेड दैट रोटी डजंट टेस्ट डिफरेंट. अब वो था कि वो थोड़ा सा वो रोटी फट सी इट वाज नॉट इवॉल्व्ड एट दैट पॉइंट, बट अल्टीमेटली इट नीड्स टू इंटीग्रेट. तो आई फील की हाई प्रोटीन मिल्क, protein yogurt, muesli, I think these are all viable options which will become like a reasonable part of the wallet. But you will also have powders because if you need more protein then मुश्किल होगा वो उतना consume करना.
And in your experience, like, let's call these protein fortified foods, when the cooking etc. happens, like I'm seeing a lot of this. I know Amul, like there's inherent trust कि Amul है तो protein छाछ में, while the taste is a little weird, it's because protein ज़्यादा है करके. But protein fortified foods, the absorption and efficacy would be similar to powders.
So by definition, if a good brand is producing these foods, they would have tested for, I think the biggest risk is the denaturization of the protein, right? So at certain temperatures, the efficacy of protein will sort of go away, right?
Yeah.
I think that is, but I think obviously the technology keeps evolving and the right protein and right. So good brand is offering a solution, then they would have tested for this, obviously.
My worry is that only that अभी जो हम evolution देख रहे हैं protein fortified foods में, where everybody is saying high protein and fortifying a little bit ये, if you had maybe a Nestle or a Unilever launched, you would say कि हाँ सब testing हो रहा है, because see testing also has to happen with at the end of shelf life. जैसे 12 महीने की shelf life है, तो 12वें महीने में आप अगर टेस्ट करोगे कि उतना प्रोटीन हर सर्विंग में आ रहा है कि नहीं, वो अभी तक वहां पहुंचे नहीं अभी तक. आई डोंट थिंक द इंडस्ट्री हैज गॉटन टू दैट yet. And that's my broader worry, and I think consumers also have that worry that end में यार how do I trust this? So it will be, I think, a journey, and we've just gotten to, I think, lab testing of protein powders, and still okay because the protein powder sells for 3,000-4,000 rupees. आप उतना खर्चा कर लोगे, but 100 रुपए का मुस्ली पैकेट के लिए हर बैच टेस्टिंग करना, it will become too expensive. So building trust in these so-called protein fortified foods, where especially it's sort of becoming, as Shantanu said, more of a marketing versus a feature, right? कि वो पैक पे ऊपर बड़ा बड़ा 10 ग्राम प्रोटीन और 20 ग्राम प्रोटीन लिखा रहता है. Is I think people are still looking at it with suspicion, and there's not enough mass adoption. And the funny thing is, when I talk to people कि यार आप ये क्यों नहीं ले रहे हो, you know, this is XYZ Amul, they're like यार टेस्ट मजा नहीं आ रहा है. Like it's so funny, everybody in food still comes on and says बढ़िया टेस्ट होना चाहिए, right? Like this clean label thing is a new thing, and I absolute clean, मतलब as clean as it can be, and they're like कितना गंदा टेस्ट है, टेस्ट तो होना चाहिए वरना रोज कैसे पीऊंगा कर. But you know, स्टीविया, मतलब स्टीविया से क्या प्रॉब्लम है? नहीं कहीं तो आर्टिकल पढ़ा मैंने. Like the fear mongering is extreme on all of these things, right? Like like artificial sweeteners by design, like sugar free would be what, 1,000 crore business, which is technically sucralose, right? And suddenly people नहीं sucralose भी नहीं होना चाहिए करके. तो हम बस फिर तुम्हें टेस्ट चाहिए या हेल्थ चाहिए, right? If you want health, you need to, like, it's almost like we become kids. Like, you know, like my son doesn't have anything that is not sweet, and कितना भी हम ट्राई करें, एंड में उसको थोड़ा कोको पाउडर, थोड़ा शुगर डालना ही पड़ता है, तो दूध नहीं पीने वाला है वो. It's almost like we are still like that, those kids कि नहीं हमें पता है, but then we would still want absolutely perfect but tasty भी चाहिए करके. मुझे नहीं लगता है mass adoption to Chirag, your question will happen unless the taste भी and health भी दोनों solve होता है.
Yeah, but even my assumption is, let's say, fortifying may not be the answer because उसमें taste कैसे solve करोगे? I think it's a hard one. But my sense is these supplements have solved for it if you reduce the cost. और उसमें तो टेस्ट सॉल्व हो गया ना. माई सेंस इज 60-70% ऑफ द वॉल्यूम विल बी डबल रिच चॉकलेट. वही इंडिया पीता हुआ क्योंकि इसी का टेस्ट अच्छा है.
This have नया डर है आर्टिफिशियल फ्लेवर नहीं चाहिए, नेचर आइडेंटिकल
अरे
फ्लेवर, ये प्योर
Revan, you are speaking to the SF guys who stay in India. मतलब अभी प्योरिटी चाहिए तो पैसा दे दो ना फिर.
नहीं नहीं, पर ये दो states हैं, मेरे को लगता है दो अलग नीड स्टेट्स हैं. तो ये जो आप म्यूजली में कह रहे हो ना कि यार म्यूजली में मेरे को टेस्ट चाहिए, राइट? तो वहां पे बंदा क्या कर रहा है कि आई डोंट थिंक कि द नीड स्टेट इज कि आई एम एक्चुअली लुकिंग टू कंज्यूम प्रोटीन. आई एम मेकिंग अ चॉइस बिटवीन अ रेगुलर वर्सेस अ हेल्दियर म्यूजली. तो वो इतना हंगअप नहीं है कि यार इससे 5 बोला तो मेरे को 5 मिल जाएगा, पर ये है कि आई मेड अ कॉन्शियस चॉइस कि आई एम पिकिंग अ हेल्दियर म्यूजली. बट जो पाउडर ले रहा है वो बोल रहा है कि यार मैं इसको फंक्शनल यूज केस के ले रहा हूँ, मैं जिम जाके आया हूँ और मुझे अपनी एफिकेसी चाहिए, रिकवरी चाहिए, या जो भी चाहिए. तो वहां पे ही इज वेरी वेरी क्लिनिकल अबाउट द परसेंटेज ऑफ प्रोटीन एंड ऑल दिस. बट ये जो फोर्टिफाइड फूड वाला स्पेस है, दिस इज काइंड ऑफ बॉर्डर लाइन बिटवीन कॉन्शियसली हेल्दी ईटिंग. तो इसीलिए
वो
वहां
चलता
पे
है
तो-
क्या?
हम्म?
वो चलता है क्या? फॉर एग्जाम्पल आटा मैगी वाज लाइक अ बिग फ्लॉप बिकॉज लाइक फ्रैंकली नो एट सम पॉइंट पीपल लाइक मैगी खा रहे हैं तो यार नॉर्मली खाओ. सो इट नेवर रियली वेंट बियॉन्ड लाइक अ 5-7% ऑफ मैगी एंड देन काइंड ऑफ पीपल रियलाइज यार इट्स नॉट.
शांतु, आई थिंक मेरे को लगता है कि डेफिनेटली चल रहा है. जैसे यू लुक एट फ्यू, मतलब बेसिकली लेट्स से आपने यार अब आइसक्रीम है, आइसक्रीम में भी आपने 0 कैलोरी कर दी, राइट? तो गिवन दैट लुक ऑब्वियसली आई 100% एग्री कि इसका टेस्ट खराब नहीं हो सकता उस जोन में, राइट? वहां पे टेस्ट हैज टू प्रीसीड योर न्यूट्रिशन क्लेम्स. तो वहां पे अगर आपने सिमिलर टेस्ट में अगर कुछ एक हेल्दियर ऑप्शन दे दिया, राइट, आई थिंक पीपल आर पिकिंग, आई थिंक वो है.
God, you're saying taste tolerance is kind of increasing on these things, or you're saying
ये
the
बंदा
ability
दो
for
जोन
supply
में,
to be.
मेरे को लगता है 2 जोन में है. जब वो वर्कआउट कर रहा है, राइट, वो बोल रहा है कि यार मेरे को ये तो नीड है मेरी, आई रियली नीड टू कंज्यूम प्रोटीन, वहां पे वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर लेगा टेस्ट पे. बट व्हेन ही इज व्हेन यू आर अ हेल्दी ईटर, कॉन्शियस हेल्दी ईटर, राइट, लेट्स से यू सब्स्टिट्यूटेड योर समोसा विद विद समथिंग हेल्दियर, राइट,
हाँ.
वहां पे यू विल बी ओके अज्यूमिंग पूरा प्रोटीन नहीं भी रहा है, बट आई थिंक द टेस्ट इज ओके, बट आई मेड अ हेल्दियर चॉइस. तो आई थिंक ये 2 जोन में कंज्यूमर्स है. बट जो प्रोटीन बार ले रहा है वो शायद 10 ग्राम लेने के लिए ले रहा है, इसलिए वो थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट हो सकता है. बट आई थिंक कॉम्प्लेक्स, फिर ऐसा लगता है कि 2-3 जोन में घूम रहा है कंज्यूमर
Got it.
ओवरऑल.
Is there a time of day? Is there a time of day kind of sensitivity on this also? Like, do you see like do you guys at a consumer level think about which time of the day? For example, ice creams. One of the big reasons why ice cream blew up in India was when Unilever realized कि यार we cannot be constrained in this post meal desert zone. So we have to become a meal ourselves. So Quality Walls became like in the early 2000s decided कि बस we are a snack. We are not a dessert. We are a snack. तो तुम स्कूल से आओ तो भी आइसक्रीम खा सकते हो, तुम बाहर जा रहे हो तो भी आइसक्रीम खा सकते हो. ऐसा नहीं कि तुमको खाने के बाद ही करना है, which is what India was doing before. So they fundamental now this could be a habit change thing which maybe Unilever could do, but have you guys done the thinking on कि यार consumer like what is the time of the day or how are they substituting a meal with it? Are they supplementing a meal with it? कैसा है वो?
नहीं, देखो जो क्लासिक प्रोटीन पाउडर है वो तो बंदा जिम जाने के बाद लेता है, दैट्स द मोस्ट कॉमन यूज केस. उसमें देयर इज स्टैट्स कि कितने लोग सुबह जिम जाते हैं, शाम को जाते हैं. बट आई थिंक द क्लासिक प्रोटीन कंजम्पशन हैपेंस कि आप जिम जाके आए, इमीडिएटली यू कंज्यूम दिस सो दैट यू फील लिटिल बिट ऑफ रिकवरी. दैट्स अ टिपिकल कंजम्पशन. देयर आर सम अदर प्रोडक्ट्स व्हिच आर मोर सेंसिटिव अराउंड timing and all that, but frankly from a consumer brand perspective we have not seen any role of timing per se. It's not a very impulse category. Food could be an impulse category, but this one is definitely very planned and
Even bars, like I would assume, for example, I'll tell you again, as a consumer, when I go to a relay or whatever, and I feel like, it's like 6 in the evening, when I'm like, okay, cool, if I have something nice right now, my dinner will either be non-existent or light, so अच्छा कुछ ले लेता हूँ मैं. And that's where I would pick up like a protein bar, like impulsively, like I pick up on whatever is available at a airport and then not eat the meal on the flight or whatever.
no, actually protein food is definitely a very impulse driven category. You will see it and you will feel the need by seeing it. That is why quick commerce has given a new life to this whole category.
Interesting.
तो बेसिकली इसीलिए मैं प्रोटीन पाउडर्स को अलग कह रहा हूँ और प्रोटीन फूड्स को अलग कह रहा हूँ, बिकॉज फूड्स मोर और लेस आर इम्पल्स कैटेगरीज and quick commerce has made it really easy for consumers to kind of access this category, which has really impacted this category possibly. तो पहले आप मॉडर्न ट्रेड, जनरल ट्रेड वहां पे जाते थे, बट वो सब कुछ मूव करके क्विक कॉमर्स पे आ गए.
कितना, how much of the category is 16,000 crores जो बोल रहे हैं सिटी, how much of that is online, how much of that is offline?
Yeah, actually 16,000 protein powder is only roughly 2,800 crores, right?
Protein
Maybe
powders, okay.
much more conservative estimate because generally the protein powder इतना है और जो ये protein foods category है मेरे हिसाब से it should not be more than 1,000 crores, 1,000 भी नहीं होगी overall. In the strict definition, obviously you'll have substitutes कि आप Kellogg के अगर वो cereals में डालोगे तो वो एकदम बड़ा हो जाएगा, but overall healthy category तो अभी इतना ही है.
4,000 crore की तो छोटी सी अभी मतलब it's still
Yeah.
kind of
Relatively small category, definitely not
It's-
outgauge.
It's almost 50% of Maggie.
or it's as big as the trimmer and razor business.
50% up. The muscle base would end up being 50% of the category then, right? From size.
I'm talking about protein. Obviously, there are some other supplements which are used by sports nutrition guys, which I'm not counting in this, right? So basically, we have a reasonable, I think I would say we will have 25 to 30% share के आसपास.
Got it. Interesting. How much of that is online versus off? Like, and within online, how much of that is quick commerce versus other online versus then stores, etc.? How the entire category?
नहीं, तो overall, if I look at sports nutrition category, I think 60 to 70% would be online and 30% would be offline. And this 30% maybe a large share is with the specialty sports nutrition stores. तो ये मतलब जो ex trainers winners होते थे, you might have seen certain stores कि वहाँ पे गली में घुस के कोई एक बॉडी बिल्डर बेच रहा है. I think those specialty stores have a lot of volumes overall. And now HealthCart also have 220 odd stores across the country where we distribute this from. But typically, वो इसका 60-40 या 70-30 ratio होगा online versus offline. Quick commerce is growing for this category, but relatively small. मतलब वो 70% online में quick commerce will get its own fair share.
And Samir, one related question that are we seeing, I've always looked at India as a low trust country and subscription hasn't take off. But this category itself looks like, your need is very definite, very time bound. Prices don't change a lot. So what does it take for subscription to take off in this category? Is it like only India specific thing that India does not like to commit? Or is there more to it? Are you seeing any trend change happen on that also? Or are you leading any change? Like you build the category on this? Are you building on a subscription also?
Yeah, मेरे को लगता है कि look, subscription is not played out in this category, and the reason is the ticket price is quite high, right? तो आप almost 3-4 हज़ार रुपए दे रहे हो एक डब्बे के लिए. And second, the thing is because of so much fluctuation in pricing across multiple players, it is very very hard for anybody to commit कि यार मैं इस डब्बे को लेता जाऊंगा, right? So there will always be like some deals running here and there. तो मेरे को लगता है because of this structural reason, this whole subscription model is not played out in the protein powders at least अभी तक. तो वो क्या होगा कि आप ये खरीदना चाहोगे तब आपको प्राइस उसी टाइप में मिल जाएगा जो भी
मेरे साथ भी ऐसे ही होता है. I would order, let's say, during a Great India Festival or let's say a sale on any of these websites. But rather than committing कि अच्छा मुझे अगले महीने चाहिए, जब चाहिए होता है उससे एक महीना पहले आ जाता है.
right. So because look, with quick commerce, frankly, अगर 10 मिनट में आपके पास प्रोडक्ट आ रहा है and you're not, until this you're getting some disproportional economic benefit, I find it difficult क्योंकि the ticket size is quite high. I think that's the other difference. At least we haven't seen this.
And are you also saying that quick commerce is like cutting that trend even more? कि सब्सक्रिप्शन की जरूरत ही नहीं है.
Yeah, मेरे को लग रहा है कि it's not quick commerce, even e-commerce and all that, right? Generally, the availability is there, right? The product is generally available, and because of multiple players, you will always have this, pricing or something going on. So, मुझे लगता है because of this, if it was a low ticket price product, it would be different. But I don't think it's quick commerce alone. It is generally high ticket size with multiple players and with multiple sort of sale events.
And you mean to say, when you say multiple players, you mean like the e-commerce player who will discount, not the brand? The person or the consumer?
You will have brand choices also.
Are you saying something that in this category also there is less loyalty? Consumers are okay to shift from one to another depending on price?
नहीं देखो इस कैटेगरी क्या हो तो हर कैटेगरी में होगा कि बेसिकली
especially I'm talking about protein supplement.
Yeah. इसमें या प्रोटीन सप्लीमेंट में यू विल फाइंड टू टाइप्स ऑफ यूजर्स. देयर वुड बी पावर यूजर्स. जैसे आप जिम जाओगे, राइट? आज जिम चले जाओ और एक साल बाद जाना तो आपको 10 लोग मिलेंगे जो वही होंगे जो पिछले साल में होंगे.
Exactly.
आके इन एंड आउट करेंगे, कभी चले गए कभी आ गए, राइट? So I think these power users will drive a lot of volume of this category. And then there would be these casual users who would be in and out of the category. So loyalty would be strong in the power users, and others, it is not about loyalty to a brand, it is more loyalty to the category. It will keep up.
Interesting.
But the
I always
larger
thought,
pool would
you
actually
know-
be that, na? The category light buyers, as they say in FMCG parlance, the category light buyers would be a very large volume of people, जो एकदम regular नहीं है. And this
नहीं,
will
but
be
wouldn't the, let's say, the power users, as the term says, power users, but they would drive most of the volume. Numbers में ज्यादा होंगे, but लेकिन they won't consume daily light
नहीं,
users.
if you understand typical consumer brand behavior, your category light buyers actually वो volume इतना बड़ा है ना, 80-20 है. So
अच्छा, वो
80%
try करते रहते हैं.
category light would be buying only 20% of the time because they are not as frequent. वो दिन में एक scoop ले रहा है instead of दिन में 2 scoop, या 2 दिन में एक scoop ले रहा है versus the gym guy who's taking 1 scoop diligently every day. But that volume is so large, at least TAM wise, I think category light buyers would still drive the TAM. I don't know, Samir, if you
No, it's I think what you're suggesting, it's no different. But I think power users will have a slightly higher proportion of volumes because they will be consistent overall, right? And इसके अंदर दूसरे मतलब it's not a question of 1 versus 2 scoops. It's a question of being committed in the category or out of the category. तो काफी ज्यादा वो होगा कि यार आप बीच में गए फिर चले गए फिर वापस से आप वापस जिम आ गए. It's like one of those things.
I think this is one of those categories where you see a lot more osmosis of consumers coming in and out of the category compared to most other categories in consumer.
Yeah.
This is one of those habits that come and go, which is very contra to what a habit actually is.
But
This was a damn hard.
Yeah, to your question, Chirag, I actually think large AOV and at least for the power users, considering also low gross margin, this would be a very D2C friendly category because as a D2C brand, I'm assuming, Samir, you wouldn't want to share in a low gross margin business, also share margins with an e-com or a quick com player. Plus the AOVs are enough for you to invest in faster delivery.
Logistics. Plus 220 stores.
एक और एंगल भी है इसमें. I think consumer, from a consumer point of view also, I think at least my behavior is that I like to buy from brand.com because of like spurious कुछ नहीं आएगा.
Sure.
In a marketplace, I am worried that there are many sellers who are selling. I don't know who to go after. Whereas from a brand, at least I'm assured.
ये है 4,000 रुपए के लिए तो यार I will be want to be very
And plus,
very
you're ingesting ना यार. I don't want to take chance on this one. For electronic equipment, even if it is spurious, it's okay.
No, absolutely right. Yeah. So B2C definitely works for us and to a large part. And this category is generally online friendly from that perspective. And authenticity also plays a big role in terms of consumer picking the right channel to buy. All these are separable.
Understood. Very cool, yaar.
This is very been a sort of a quick masterclass on I will not use the word that all of you expect me to use the word, but Shantanu बुरा मान जाएगा यार कि my hair is not. Maybe Shantanu, your hair went on fire, which is why you don't have any hair anymore.
No, but what an outstanding journey, Samir. Like, tenure of the company. I still think of the first Muscle Blaze. You're one of, I remember sitting in our Lado Sarai office in 2016. I don't know whether you ever saw our Square One Mall wala office in Saket. Jewelry store में बैठते थे हम लोग. Chirag, you have definitely not seen it. But I remember seeing the first Muscle Blaze ad then. This is 2016. 2016, I think. When I was like, यार, ये 3-4 minute का ad था वो.
Oh yeah.
High quality production. And it was just insane. It looked like a mini movie, yaar. I was like, क्या सही ad है. This is, at that time, Muscle Blaze was like a startup, and someone told me, नहीं, क्या startup बोल रहा है, 5 crore कर रहा है महीने का, ये है वो. I was like, whoa, what an insane business. But I was like, yeah, these guys get brand.
तुम नहीं समझोगे. I think that's what you're... No, that was, once in a lifetime ऐसा कुछ product निकल के आता है यार. But we are really proud of what we did. And this is the first campaign that we did for Muscle Blaze and was very well received. But
dude, it was insane. It all YouTube only, you did not go television.
No, we have not done. We have never done TV and all that. So we have stuck to digital. But कई बार जैसे even in investor presentations, when I have to show कि यार ये brand world है कौन सा, तो सबसे पहले मैं वो ही चलाता हूँ. वरना वो लोग
Very good. that really inspired us. I think Samir, I probably have never expressed the gratitude to you, but that inspired a lot of our early brand thinking कि क्या बन सकते हैं अगर अच्छे से स्टोरी टेलिंग सीखे, अगर इमोशंस को अगर विजुअलाइज कराना है किसी को, तो I like the word you use, the world of brand. Like, what is the world of this brand, right? It is so important, and every brand has to actually think about this. If someone, and I think American companies get this right beautifully. I don't know whether you've ever been to like Disney World and all the ठीक these are obviously like big ones. But let's say you go to a Legoland store, or you go to an M&M store. Gems बेचते हैं यार M&M वाले. बट वो एक एक M&M को वो बड़ा सा ये कैरेक्टर बना के they have like a 5-story floor where each of these characters are walking around, lots of lights. So they convert that small basic chocolate snack into this world of M&M, right? And I think the world of brand is such a, like, for me the takeaway is you're building the category, the consumers coming along, supply will happen, पता नहीं कैसे need states evolve करेंगी, लेकिन if you can focus on building this world of brand for Muscle Blaze and for like let's say all of our brands also, I think that's where the real long-term alpha will come. And I think it is not a capital choice. I think it is a creativity and compounding choice. And I think that's a very, very big learning for me, at least.
But I agree with you, यार. I think brand building में वो to create that brand world, and it's hard. It's not easy, especially for most of us who are not inherently creative, and maybe if you think business first, to get the all to actually align around that, and think storytelling first or think brand world and just stay consistent to it. So hard, na? We every small, with India growing so fast, नए opportunities आते रहते हैं, and you're like, अच्छा यार ये भी करते हैं. But saying no is also a very critical part of that brand world, right? यार नहीं हम इसके बाहर नहीं जाएंगे करके.
Bored नहीं होना अपने को अपने brand से. You should never get bored of it.
Yeah. In fact, this is one of the, I keep asking random questions. And एक बार मैंने पूछा था to one of my investors कि what do you think is the biggest risk for our business? And he gave a very interesting answer. He said, if you get bored, that's a big risk. So I'm like, boss, ये तो बहुत loaded answer था. तो मेरे को वही याद है कि, but indirectly you have to force yourself to be boringly consistent when you're doing a brand business, right? Very catch-22, as Samir was saying in the beginning, for people like me and Chirag were like, यार कुछ नया करते हैं, let's go faster, let's एक और revenue line बनाते हैं, एक और, I mean, I have in some ways sort of sorted with the business design, which is कि यार एक और brand करते रहो, but as you said, then the resource and capital allocation, the one thing is 0 to 1 thinking, कहीं और 1 to 10 thinking चाहिए, that context switching, almost 2 different teams. It's hard, but an interesting problem to solve. I mean, that's the journey. I think fortunately or unfortunately, all of us seem to have undertaken. Shantanu is very clear. I want my. So we keep teasing Shantanu. His resting heart rate is like low 50s. Like his restorative sleep is like 60%. बहुत ही, he is optimized for कि भाई life बढ़िया रखो, right?
I don't wear any of these tracks.
बाकी लोग को anxiety देते हैं LinkedIn पे उंगली करके, but खुद एक
but brand बनाने के लिए तो यार I really, and look, I have transformed quite a bit. 11 to 15 was very धंधे वाली approach कि revenue आ जाए. But now having gone through this, I really feel it's so magical, and you have to just be in love with the products that you create. And unfortunately, when you do multiple brands, it is so difficult. You may not be a true consumer of your product also sometimes, right? That can also happen कि आप जिस TG में थे, एक point पे आप TG में थे, उसके बाद आप बाहर निकल गए TG से, right? But just the amount of effort that you put in to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper, I think that creates truly good brands. And it's just difficult to kind of scale that model across multiple brands. I think that's a reality.
Yeah, I agree. I actually agree. Even for us, we don't have many brands. We have only 2. उसमें भी बहुत fight होता है, and we have enough reason to say कि we need a hair removal brand for men and hair removal brand for women, because that right to win does not exist otherwise, because it's totally different. But उसमें भी बहुत fight होता है.
The
being in
hardest
love with.
me to answer is when team asks कि आपका favorite वाला कौन सा है. I'm like, boss ये सब सवाल पूछ रहे हो.
बता दो हमें यार, तुम पूछ रहे हो.
मैं कहता हूँ ask me after 15 more years. 5 साल हुए, 15 साल बाद पूछना करके, तब तक तो it's like, you can't ask ना कि आपका, like, yes, one kid will go to IIT, one kid won't. Doesn't mean you love the kids any less, right? It's like that for us. But
No, the IIT kid has a soft corner. मेरा है ना, मेरे को
बस शांतनु का एग्जांपल है ना.
आई हैव लिव्ड इट यार.
मेरे केस में youngest kid is the most loved one.
मेरा उल्टा
तो
actually.
फिर-
My older brother was, and my mom accepts also. Like my wife keeps asking me कि you don't seem to be as close to your parents as your brother. I said, ask him, no, why? And they accept this. हाँ, we loved him more. And not loved, they say कि तू बहुत independent था, तू सुनता नहीं था, तो हमने बोला तू figure out कर लिया खुद से. उसको जरूरत थी हमारी. मतलब बहुत ये भी जरूरत थी यार. ये क्या बात हुई करके. So anyway, I think, yeah, these are complex relationships that people will never be able
Founders
to.
have with their brands.
Yeah, so I didn't tell them, no, I'm the professional CEO. I have to do capital. Last episode we covered that, Samir. I don't know if you watched the founder, shareholder, CEO split.
Oh, that was a
I
good
mean,
episode. I actually watched it. It was pretty cool. I think it was quite deep discussion. I think you guys covered the SHA rights and it got into the details of governance and all that. Are you referring to that?
That was one with Tarun Davda, I think. That was one of the meet with.
No, I really
with
like that one. उसके अंदर मतलब it was quite detailed and a lot of times they are कोई किसी की बात नहीं करता इसके बारे में and I think quite detailed.
And so I think our most successful episode till date, if you look at the views and engagement, it's done very well. And Tarun actually gave a lot of perspectives, which was very authentic and kind of a lot of stuff that people would ordinarily not speak about in public. But he was very open about it, which is very good. Kudos to him actually.
Yeah, I think even the role of the board and all that, I've wondered myself यार कि ये क्या होता है, कब होता है, और कैसे avoid करता है. So, it was
Actually,
really-
before we let you go, I wanted to ask you, like, is going public something that that is on the cards in the medium term horizon?
So I think, matlab basically, I think 2 to 3 years is what we are looking at overall. Increasing the profit pool because what I've learned is that you don't want to go public too early. You want a cushion of profits and so that you can still take a long-term view. So 2 to 3 years.
Please kar lo, Samir, because we now have a bellwether in beauty and personal care, which is trading at roughly 5 times plus revenue. I know it's PE तो बहुत ज़्यादा high है, but I think you are almost at similar scale, right? At a 2,000 crore or run rate, 5% plus EBITDA. I mean, it would be amazing to start getting. I mean, from a very selfish reason, I'll be honest, we would want comparables to see that, nahi yaar, dekho, this is possible karke. Because I think every health and wellness player has that TAM question hanging on their head. And, the first one to show the path will get beneficial to the overall industry. So I believe as Mamaearth helped the entire beauty personal care industry get a lot more traction and a lot more confidence from everyone saying कि नहीं यार बन सकता है करके. It would be really helpful for you guys to show the way to the rest of the industry कि देखो TAM हाँ छोटा है but बन सकता है.
Yeah.
That would be really
No, I was also cheering big time for Mamaearth because मेरे को लगा यार वो comparable होना बहुत जरूरी है. Otherwise, private में anybody's guess otherwise, right? So you go through the journey. Yeah.
So slight disagreement on what you said, Samir, when you say first. I actually agree with Kunal. India has a last mover advantage. कि यार एंड में ना हम छोटे टाइम में होता क्या है ना, पहले लोग गोलियां ही खाते. रेबेल देख लो ना, अब इतना कैपिटल एफिशिएंट रहे. सब मुझे बोलते हैं लुक एट द फॉलो ऑन फोक्स. अरे बॉस, इनोवेशन तो रेबेल ने किया ना यार, रास्ता रेबेल ने दिखाया. तो when you are figuring out something, when you're truly innovating on a model which you also have, it's never going to be capital efficient. The next guy always has an advantage of being more capital efficient, especially because it's not winner take all. Again, like tech में because network effect बन जाते हैं. Like in Chirag's business, once he has 70%, I think he already has 70% of the D2C brands in the country on his platform. He will keep strengthening his, so tomorrow someone else coming in may not be able to get that market share. They'll get some, but it'll be very minuscule, right? So there sometimes the first mover advantage because you have network effects or you have inherent switching cost as moats, वो हो जाता है. But even Rebel, while the kitchens were a moat, like number of kitchens you could put and what kind of food. But if you see how Cure Foods has just acquired brands and quickly scaled up, right? So always going to be helpful for the second and third guy because the market is evolving, right? I like that analogy. वो जंग में सबसे ज्यादा गोलियां, और when you see those US movies, right? You're going into terrorist camp. वो पहला बंदा is at risk ना गोली खाने के लिए. As soon as it's exit time ना, यार हमारा टाइम भी लग जाता है. And it's not value additive ना, pure secondaries अगर होनी है. And अगर समीर का टाइम जा रहा है from focusing on the business to making sure that, a 15% block is going to a good investor who's going to help think long term, then he will want to be involved. What going public helps is that you are away from all of this. ना आपको जब अब निकाल लो करके. So at some point of time, if he's optimizing for कि यार I want to focus on 10-year vision and just build for 10 years, I don't want to every 2 years make sure that किसी का ब्लॉक खाली करने के लिए मुझे वापस समझाना पड़ रहा है कि बिजनेस क्या है करके. वो एक बार आप समझा दो to go IPO, then it's a continuous cycle of just delivering results. No? Is that a fair view, Samir? Or why would you would?
Then why would you not want to go public earlier? Like at the same stage as Mamaearth in a large market, such large market shares, go early, grow with the retail investor in terms of share price and kind of.
You should watch that episode, by the way, with the Aditya Birla CIO, Samir, where he was very clear that we would prefer to see the companies early because हमें भी 20% growth चाहिए ना. आप पूरा growth जूस आउट करके फिर आओगे हमारे पास तो फिर हम excite कैसे होंगे? So you should see that episode maybe. I can connect you to Harish if you want. He's a friend since college, so maybe you get an interesting perspective from them as well. But to Shantanu's question, I think maybe it's possible to do. I mean, I don't know. You would be the best. Again, maybe I'm selfish heart speaking. Please go ahead.
No, but I think all the points that you make are absolutely right, and this is what I've heard also कि आपका जो पूरा जो टाइम जा रहा है आपका इन्वेस्टर मैनेजमेंट में कि अगर कोई सेकेंडरी डील हो रही है ऑल दैट लॉट ऑफ टाइम गेट्स goes into discovering the price and figuring out the deal and all this, right? So I 100% agree that that sort of goes away. And if you truly take a long-term view and don't care about the stock price for next 10 years, then it's a better life. But I've also seen let's say your profit predictability is not completely up there, right? You don't want to go too early because then obviously your ability to take long-term calls will get compromised a little bit. तो मेरा व्यू ये है कि there's a right balance overall कि यार एक X amount of वो हो so that we can take a long-term view. You don't want to be like operating quarter by quarter, which is the reality of a public company. So I think that's the trade-off.
No, yeah, outstanding, yeah, outstanding. Very, very helpful. Samir. Thank you for taking out the time.
Pleasure
really
talking to you.
helpful. At least got a little bit of nuance to the frameworks we use on, especially with someone who's seen building for 15 plus years, right? For us, we also really leverage this time to anticipate the kind of decisions we'll have to make and maybe plan for them. I mean, that's broadly why we also do this. Though Shantanu is always helpful, कि देखो 9 साल हो गए ये होने वाला है. But I think even getting a farther out view is helpful. Again, very few of us think beyond 2-3 years, but thinking 5, thinking 7, thinking 10 is only possible when we spend time with people who have seen a lot more than us, seen a lot more cycles, seen a lot more different kind of situations, and also, as I said, navigated different market conditions in almost 2 different decades to create this wonderful business that you have. So thank you for spending the time.
Cheering you on always, Samir. Thank you so much.
Please commend Goon, Shantanu, and say hi to Samir next time you see.
Chalo, no, amazing. I think great discussion, yeah. Generally, good to catch up with everyone. And wonderful discussion, yeah. And Shantu, we have been meaning to do this for a long time. So finally,
yes, the barbershop episode is pending. I think we should do that when you're in Gurgaon.
Chalo, yeah.